this fight, probably, stays in the UFC. I mean, Bunes is. I don't think he can. I don't know, lose couple in a row and stay in the UFC. And he doesn't even. I don't know. He just fights the way that he just gets himself tired all the time. Like last fight, he was forcing the takedowns, which I didn't like. He was going for a takedown over and over, and Josh Over defended some of them. Some of them he actually didn't defend, but he was getting up and he was landing elbows against the cage. He was landing shots against the cage. Then Bruno Lopez, not Bruno Lopez, Felipe Bunes had to kind of disengage, and he was finding himself in bad positions. He was always getting backed up. He was throwing some spinning, like some crazy stuff from his back. When you are tired, the last thing you want to throw is spinning back kick. You know what I mean? And that shows he doesn't have a good fight IQ. On the other hand, Jose Johnson, similar fighter. He just throws crazy stuff. In the clinch is pretty good. He actually has a lot of power in the clinch. He knocks people out, in the clinch, and he actually has more power on the feet, in my opinion, than Brunes. He's pretty long, He's actually decent striker. In my opinion, he's a good striker, I would say. I would say he's a better striker here, between these two. I would give the edge to Johnson on the feet. But the problem with Johnson is his grappling, Like, I don't know what. I mean, sometimes his grappling looks better. Sometimes his grappling looks horrible. I don't know what to make of his grappling. Maybe Wiz is gonna talk about it, after me and explain it because, like, some of these fights, his grappling looks decent. He kind of grapples really well against, for example, Jack Cartwright, who is actually a good grappler. He looks okay against Chad Helliger. He actually reversed him and he was able to get a choke. But against Damon Blackshear, he looks like a complete white belt. Last fight, he couldn't defend a single takedown. He had the one, good attempt with submission with a triangle, but that was that. And I don't know. I think it comes down to grappling here. If Burris doesn't wrestle at all on the feet, I don't know. I think it's sketchy for him. I think he probably gonna get knocked out. But he has fought some good competition. He fought in ACA. He fought this guy Mansour, who is okay. Below average guy. This guy Murad is undefeated guy who is pretty good, and Imran is very good, I would say. So he fought some good people. He was 2-3 there, and he was okay, but he got released. Then he fought this guy Waskar in LFA. This guy's 41 years old, but close with him. Yuma is a okay fighter, C minus kind of guy. I mean, he's okay, but nothing too impressive. Same with Johnson. He's been fighting low level people. So as I said in the beginning, both guys have like a lot to prove, and this could be some kind of volatile fight. Johnson has been knocked out once by Mana Martinez, not a good look, but I don't think Burns is the guy to knock him out. I think it's more like a club and sub if that happens. If Burns wins, I think it's more like grappling. If he gets his back against the cage, maybe he gets his back on the ground. He maybe puts a triangle on him and controls him there. Maybe. Um, so I have Burns here. But I'm more confident in the under. I think somebody's gonna get a finish either way. I don't think this goes to a decision. So give me Burns as a dog because again, both guys are unproven at the end of the day. And if you talk about the wins and losses, I think as far as losses go, like Burnes has lost to some good people, really. So I don't know. I think it's dog or pass as far as the money line goes. If somebody sees something in Johnson that I don't see, you know, then fine. But I think he has a lot of flaws in his game, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. What you think, Quiz? Because on the ground, I give clear advantage to Burnes as far as he's not tired. But is he gonna get tired again, in your opinion, or not? Because last fight he got gassed, so we'll see. I
Here's my
guess.
thing here. I mean, when you're looking at the Bunes side, you're talking about a 35-year-old, 125-pound flyweight, and I mean, age usually just correlates as a disadvantage when it comes to that division. The older you get,
Yeah.
the tougher it is to cut that much weight, to cut to 125, and just to perform at a high level with the cardio, because at a certain point, your body cannot keep cutting that much weight. Uh, and at 35, it just seems a little tough to me for Bunes. Now, I'm not gonna say anything on the Johnson side here when it comes to the weight cut, because we all know He's a 6 foot flyweight, which just doesn't seem healthy at all, obviously.
Crazy.
So we're gonna have to wait to see how he looks on the scales too. Now, when it comes to their overall just MMA game, Bunes is very sloppy when it comes to striking, and sure he might be able to land some takedowns, but Johnson, on the other hand, is a tough motherfucker to control. He will scramble and try to put you in some weird submissions. And since he's 6 foot, he has the long legs to be able to lock up a lot of those tough submissions, like the triangles for people at that weight class. And it just makes it a little bit easier for him to lock in. So there's always going to be constant threat when it comes to the grappling if Bunes tends to go to that route. And then on the feet, I just think I'm not going to say it's night and day difference when it comes to the striking, but Johnson is a much better striker and a much cleaner striker. And he tends to also throw straight shots compared to a guy that is just a little bit too sloppy when it comes to the hands. For me, I do think that while it's on the feet, Johnson is just going to have his way here. And then on the mat, if Bunes is shooting some sloppy takedowns, I do think that Johnson can find a front choke, can find some sort of reversal and land on top and be able to end the fight. For me, the line that sticks out is Johnson inside the distance at plus 175.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you want something to where, in my opinion, I don't think Bunes has a shot to finish the fight personally. So you could take the Johnson inside the distance, goes the distance, no action. That's minus 200. I'm not laying that myself, but it is out there and it's playable, in my opinion, to just hedge away from like the decision loss equity on the Johnson side. But for me, I know I'm going to end up on the plus 175 for the ITD on Johnson. I just have to take that. Although my gut instinct tells me he wins a decision here, I do understand that there may be a lot of opportunities where Johnson will be able to land a front choke, a triangle. He can knock out Bunes on the feet. There's a lot of intangibles here. And I've talked about this on other shows when it comes to striking. In this fight, there's a 5-inch height advantage for Johnson, and when a guy at 5'7" like Bunes is punching up, you're losing quite a bit of reach. So even though the reach metrics show 71.5 inches for Johnson and 71 for Bunes, in all reality, when you're punching up, you actually are giving up a couple of inches in reach there too. So there is somewhat a reach advantage there as well. But yeah, all in all, I do think that Johnson gets the win here. I think he gets the submission.
Final.
Yeah, so you like the ITD more than the under, right? Basically, with Johnson ITD.
Yeah, I like the ITD more than under because I don't really have too much of I don't give Bunes too much finishing equity here.
Right. Yeah, the under is plus money. You know, I didn't expect it to be plus money honestly because the way they fight, you know, Bunes just like if you look at his over unders, he's been under for like I think 4 out of 5 times, and you know, Johnson, I believe, is 2 and 5 last 7 with the under. So he, you know, most of the time they go under. But at the same time, like Johnson, you know, I think as far as like live goes, Johnson knockout is better than sub. I don't think he subs Bunes personally, you know. So what is Johnson knockout if you remember? It's plus 400 actually. It's pretty. It's probably not bad, you know.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
I prefer that over the ITD personally, you know, if I was playing that side. But yeah, we'll see. You know, I think it's a great fight to be honest. I think somebody's going to finish either way. And
Dude, it's just that I had a constant thought in my head every time I taped this fight, and it was just Bunes shooting a sloppy takedown, and he just gets choked out every single time.
Possible, yeah. Maybe you know, there's a chance that there's a recency bias in this line, you know, because even though Johnson lost the last fight, not to get finished by Asu is not the worst thing. I mean, Asu is fighting
really good.
You know, he's going up, and he's a great grappler, and you know he looked actually pretty good in that fight, even though he lost. So you know what I mean. And this guy comes on short notice, I believe, and gets knocked out in round 2. He gets gassed out. You know, he's all over the place, sloppy takedowns. Not a good look. So I believe there is some kind of recency bias in this line. Maybe it's actually not high enough on Johnson. That's also possible, you know. So we'll see. I think it's under. You know, if you're playing this fight, I would put my money on the under. I have actually 1.5 units. So
Yeah, in fact, BB, within the last 15 minutes here, the line has moved higher on the over at DraftKings. So if you're going to follow
yeah,
BB, you're now going to get, you said plus money, but now you're going to be looking at plus $1.25 here, possibly at DK
yeah,
right now. We're seeing a move here live with our coverage here on the over.
yeah.
Right.
Maybe
All
it goes back down.
No doubt. Okay, we'll get to the main event here in just a moment. The rematch between Mackenzie Dern and, of course, Amanda Ribas here at the Apex in Las Vegas on Saturday. But first, I want to thank everyone here. We've got 80 live viewers right now, VB. So welcome to our new audience on the Sports Money Network. That's a new home for us here. Yeah, you can still catch us on the VB MMA Picks with Ramon Scott YouTube channel as well. But don't forget, you can follow VB MMA Picks on X and get his fight card for this weekend's bouts here in Las Vegas. Dern versus Ribas 2. I've already got the picks from VB. All I have to do is host this show. But you can slide into his DMs, contact him directly, and get his fight card. He just gave you 2 of his picks on the card. I'm looking at them right now. You had Bunes. You have the under, as you said, VB, as your preferred bout as well. And you've got on here, I believe, 20 picks on the card this weekend, including your patented props here this weekend. So make sure you follow him on X, like and subscribe to this video and our channels here, and get his full card package. You'll speak directly to VB himself. He doesn't have a customer service department. He is the customer service department. You'll spend less on the more on the refreshments than you will on VB's card this week. VB, what's going on in MMA this week? Am I going to be up in the middle of the night watching Ryzen fights?
No, I don't think we have Ryzen next, for next couple of months. But yeah, I mean, thank you, Raymond, for kind words. Even if you didn't host the show, I would send you my card anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to sign up with me, you can do it. 1 year is still available. It's like if you divide, it's like $3 a card or something like that, or $4 a card. So I don't think it's much. If you wanna see what I have, and yeah, I think this card is pretty good for betting. Actually, there is a lot of live underdogs. Actually, every play I have is an underdog, which I don't think ever happened before. Actually, it's quite opposite. I have a lot of favorites usually. So
can't wait for Saturday.
some of them are small underdogs, like plus 105, 110, but some of them are big underdogs, like Bruno Lopez, for example, is plus 200 range. So you know what I mean? So I had those kind of plays, and I think it's a lot of dog or pass fights here. Even the main event we're gonna talk about, I'll get there, and a lot of good, interesting fights. And I want to talk about this card more if I could, but again, these 3 fights are picked. I picked 3 underdogs, and if we go 1 and 2, at least we're even, So let's get at least 2 wins, if not 3. You know what I mean?
All right, appreciate it, VB. Let's move into the main event now here from Las Vegas on Saturday night. We got a rematch here, VB, with Mackenzie Dern, strawweights here. Mackenzie Dern, the 31-year-old from Phoenix, fights out of LA. She's 14-5, 9-5 in the UFC. She's coming off a unanimous decision win over Godinez last August. She was a minus $1.35 favorite to snap a two-fight losing streak with that win up here against 31-year-old veteran Amanda Ribas from Brazil. 13-5, 7-4 in the UFC. She's alternated wins and losses, I believe, for the last 8 fights. She's coming in off of a unanimous decision loss to Namajunas last March as a plus 170 dog. Now, of course, the first fight was in October of 2019. Ribas won that one by unanimous decision. What do you remember there, and what's going to happen here, Wiz, on Saturday night with our main event? The ladies kick off the year.
Yeah, when you look at this fight, obviously these 2 ladies have fought before, and Ribas won that first fight. Here, when we're looking at the differences between the 2 matchups, we're seeing a 3-round fight previously versus a 5-round fight this time around, which I do think the 5-round nature does favor Mackenzie Dern quite a bit here. We've seen Ribas gas quite a bit in the past, and especially in that last fight against Rose Namajunas, I was hitting Rose live constantly throughout the fight, even though it got a little scary at a point, but she was able to pull it off. Ribas just has shown time and time again to fade as the fight goes on, and with this being 5 rounds, I think Mackenzie, the way she favors the fight to go, it kind of plays into her arsenal here. She's someone that will strike until she's able to land a takedown or get onto someone's back or grab a hold of someone's leg. And speaking of her boxing, she's back with Parillo, and overall, from what I've heard, she's been looking really good in camp. I'm connected in some shape or form to the camp. She's from my area here, so I've heard some things. Now, when you look at the Ribas side, the things that I like about her is that she constantly is moving around the octagon and is making girls chase her. But the difference also this time around is we're fighting in the apex, so we're in the smaller cage. It'll be a little bit easier for Mackenzie to track Ribas down and try to shoot a little bit more frequently. Now, the issue with Mackenzie Dern has always been the striking defense. Ever since she was working with Jason Parillo, the striking offense has been fixed, but the defense is still a worry. And Ribas, although not the cleanest striker, she does throw with a lot of volume, and she just stays in your face constantly. She will not back down. And if you let Ribas build momentum on you in those first 2 rounds, and you're down 2-0 coming into the third, it's going to be a tough ask. I just think that Mackenzie can stay safe here and probably land some takedowns, get some control time, and edge out a close decision. I do think if you're asking me to pick winners, I would be on the Ribas side, because I do think that more often than not, she wins this matchup. But if you're asking me on if there's value in the line, in the betting line, then I'm definitely going to say Mackenzie Dern. So for all those reasons, I will likely be on the Mackenzie Dern side this weekend. I think she squeaks out a split decision.
All right, BB, about a 20-30 cent move here in the run-up to the bout this week. And also, Ulysses, wondering, you see that total there, BB. Of course, these ladies expected to go the distance at $2 right now, but you can add the context to it, BB.
Yeah, Raymond, it's a fight that nobody asked for, to be honest, especially in a rematch, but it is what it is. Maybe some people asked for it. I mean, these ladies.
We know there's some people that ask for it.
Yeah, these ladies are good looking, honestly, and yeah, don't bet whoever you like more, kind of thing. This is like, oh, I like her. Okay, I'm gonna bet her. Don't do that.
Yeah, Dixon has a poster on his ceiling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. That this is the kind of fight that can distract some people from making good decisions in their betting ways, so I don't know. I think it's a good fight. The first fight was competitive, but Ribas clearly won. I mean, there is no doubt that he was a better striker that night, and Dern wasn't able to really get a takedown, anywhere, but you gotta remember, that was right after Dern had a child, I believe. That was right after. That was the first fight back. She wasn't fully back there, clearly. And after that, she's been looking okay. She won some, she lost some, but she's competing okay at this level, still. So that the first fight back is always hard, that's how it is, and I just cannot take anything from that, to be honest. I just don't want to do this. Oh, she won the first fight, and she's gonna win the second fight easy. Easy again. It's never easy in MMA. MMA is hard sport to cop, and I always say no 2 fights are ever the same. It's very rare that 2 fights are the same. Look at Moreno and Figgy. All 4 fights have different results. Literally, all of them have different results. Like, we have a draw, we have a decision for Figueiredo, we have a knockout for Moreno, submission for Moreno. So 4 fights happen, and all 4 have different outcomes, and that happens a lot in MMA. Look at Volkov Gan, for example. What happened in the first fight? Gan schooled him. Second fight, they robbed Volkov. But you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing that it happens in MMA. People make adjustments. They're in good camps. They're training all the time. They get better, you know. So of course, people have different game plans every fight in general when they fight each other. Next week we have rematch also. We have a lot of rematches, this year actually. We have Merab, on that card and others, but it's a good card for next week. We'll get there. But you know what I mean? A lot of rematch with Arman and Islam. I don't think that fight is gonna be much different. I think it's gonna be competitive again, but maybe more competitive. We'll see. As far as this fight goes, I think Darren is, I think he's live for a finish. Even though Ribas is a great grappler, she's really good on the ground. She does she just does things right on the ground. Like if you are not good on the ground, she will expose you pretty quick. She'll take you down and she'll probably get on your back and choke you. She looked great against Viviani. Viviani couldn't able to get up. And Ribas controlled her. Then she gets knocked out, unfortunately, against Barber, and that was a bad look. When she doesn't get a takedown, she kind of gets sloppy on the feet, and she just gets cracked a lot on the feet. Her chin is not good. It never was good, and I don't think Danny's life for a knockout here or anything, but she can definitely land a few shots that can concuss Ribas. And then the fight is different usually. When you're concussed, when you're hurt, you just can't fight the same way. And Ribas gets hurt every fight. Let's be honest. Look at her fights. She gets dropped. She gets hurt. Even Pinero touched her up early. You know what I mean? So it's hard to trust her, in my opinion, at this like huge favorite odds. At this level, it's not like Dern is inexperienced at this point. Dern has a lot of fights in the UFC. She's been in main event. She's been 5 rounds. And I just don't want to say that this is the exact same fight. I just don't think it's gonna happen again. I think it's gonna be different, and usually that's how MMA is, and
System play.
we'll see. Plus 175, 180 right now on DraftKings. I think it's a dog or bus, I agree with Wiz. It's a comparative close fight. I lean GTD. I think it goes to decision more than not. If somebody gets a finish, I would say it's Dern, also, which kind of makes me like the underdog more, to be honest. So yeah, I'll take the Dern side here. Again, this card is for me not good for chalk. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Parlay Boys night, and pandemonium for them or something. I don't know. But for me, I don't think it's good for Parlay Boys. I think it's very very volatile card, and all these guys are live to finish each other. Look at the co-main event even. Fight before that, all those fights are very volatile. And some of these price tags are too high. So I'm gonna go with the another underdog here. I gave you guys first 3 underdogs. Is that the first, Raymond? You giving all 3 dogs? Maybe.
I don't know, BB. You're kind of heavy in Dogland a lot of
Yeah.
times. I know on the show because we have so
Yeah.
many main events. Sometimes we end up with some big favorites, but that's just the nature of the format. I
Yeah.
think. Maybe my question to you, BB, before we go, would be: we did see a lot of chaos with the matchmaking late last year, and obviously the matchmakers at the UFC were kind of cleaning up things right as the year went along, made sure they got everybody in that they needed to get in, and whether or not they've cut weight, so to speak, with the roster here. Maybe we are getting a fresh start and good matchups where the dogs might be a little bit more live and everyone ready to jump in and just start firing here. But the moves have been subtly, I don't think all the way down the card, but it does seem like the moves here have kind of been on the dogs so far.
Yeah, as we know, like in 2024, favorites absolutely destroyed 2024. They won fights that they shouldn't have probably, and the like big favorites looked like small favorites, but they still won split decisions and close fights and comeback finishes. You know what I mean? So I don't think the trend continues. Usually, it doesn't continue that way. And I'm gonna predict that in 2025, we're gonna have one of the craziest years as far as underdogs go in a long time. That's my take here. I think it's gonna be dog year.
I'm going to clip this, BB. I'm going to clip it.
You should. So we'll see what happens at the end of the year. I'm gonna look like fool or genius. We'll see. But I think it's gonna be a dog year, and I'm picking a lot of underdogs on this card, and we'll see. I hope Old Gloves come back also. That helps underdogs usually. And let's see what happens. You know, a lot of interesting fights on this card. Next week is very good card. I can't wait for that next week's UFC 311 card. You know, and
Yeah.
again, I want to thank everybody for joining. And a lot of
Makachev,
new viewers, Raymond. Props to you.
yeah, Makachev and Makachev in that bout next week. Want to thank Wiz here, of course, and thank everybody in the chat. We got up to 100 live views here, so great
Nice.
new debut here on the Sports Money Network. And you know what, Wiz, I guess, you know, we'll see Wiz a couple of times this year, but we thank him for the impromptu appearance. But maybe VB will invite Wiz for the season finale show so we can see if you want to eat your words or whether it was true all season. We scored on the Dogs. So, hey, well,
Yeah,
Wiz, go ahead.
you're in. Wiz, you're in.
Yeah,
At the end of the year,
I'm in.
come.
I'm in.
All
I'm
right.
in. You know I'm gonna be
Wiz,
here. I'm always here.
yeah, our Pantoja doppelganger. Go ahead, Wiz. Where can we find you? Are you
the
Pantoja?
Pantoja doppelganger? See, that's a first. I usually get Charles Jourdain, but I'll take it.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Probably. Go ahead, Wiz.
You know, I'm just getting ready to fight soon. Hopefully, February 21st to fruition, and I've been working really hard. That's the date. So till then, just constant training in and out. And it's always a pleasure working with you guys and being on here live and breaking down fights. It really is fun for me, and I'm glad to be here, and we'll always be glad to work with you guys in the future. For those who haven't followed me yet, I'm on Twitter at WizzMMA, on YouTube at WizzMMA, and then I just created an Instagram today for the page too, where I'll be posting some stuff about camp. So if you want to get a little bit more personal with me, you can follow me on there too. But yeah, guys, thanks again. It's always been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining. Good luck in your fight. You know, yeah, we need a line for the fight somewhere. Dave Mason or somebody.
It won't be fair, man. I'm coming out with the blood.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, you know, we 3 underdogs. We'll see where it goes. You know, I couldn't pick underdogs for a lot of these cards. I mean, Buckley was, you know, good favorite in my opinion, and Pantoja and John Jones. You know, so you can't pick underdogs all the time. But my prediction again is a lot of underdogs this year. And again, if you want to sign up, link is down below. If not, subscribe here and get our free picks here every week. And you know, see you next week with more UFC picks. Raymond, you can end it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Again, thank you to Wiz for picking us up. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Over 100 live views. I think probably our second most viewed live show here of all time. I know we had a great guest one time. We really blew one up, but we're going to be here every week on the Sports Money Network and, of course, on the VB MMA Picks channel with Ramon Scott. So join us here each week to preview 3 fights. We got other great coverage with our other programming here on the Sports Money Network. All right, for Wiz Does and for VB, we'll catch you next time with more VB MMA Picks.